Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna break down a commercial that I shot for a restaurant promoting just one of the greatest things ever made, chicken nuggets. Before we get into the breakdown, if this video helps you out, if it's entertaining, if it teaches you a new skill or you learn something along the way, please hit like down below. It really helps grow the channel, helps new people see these videos, and does all the good YouTube algorithm things. So like I said, that was an ad I shot for a restaurant to promote their new chicken nuggets. I actually ended up doing a group of 4 ads for their website, social media, all that good stuff. And we had a really good time shooting these. They were half in the restaurant, in the kitchen, and the other half in the studio, aka my apartment living room. With all that said, we have some shots to go through. Let's jump into shot number 1. Okay, first thing is the setup. Location, like I said, my amazing studio, my 1-bedroom apartment living room. And I'm not gonna lie, looking at this shot, I'm pretty happy with what we got just setting it up like this. So the surface is just my black metal coffee table and then a piece of glass on top to make it reflective. The background is a white backdrop, and then we have the aperture 120D like at the bottom pointed up to give it that gradient. And obviously we have a gel or a red something. I had some gels. I looked through all the gels, and every gel that was red or kind of red literally had a hole melted through it, so we didn't have any red gels. But I wasn't gonna give up there. I went out to my truck. I'm like, maybe some of the gels fell out. Maybe they're in my back seat. So I'm looking through, no gels, nothing red, and then I spot out of the corner of my eye something red. A red umbrella. And I was like, I wonder how well this is gonna work if I put it in front of the 120D. And it worked way too well. Like, what? Me and the team just took some scissors to this red umbrella, gaff taped it on the 120D, and got our beautiful red gradient on our white background. And then we have a top light, which is the Falcon Eyes XC something. I'll put it right here on the screen. It's a big flat LED with a softbox that gives just a super nice light. So the thought process for this shot, I knew I wanted us to be dipping chicken nuggets, because I mean, you gotta have sauces with chicken nuggets. For this shot, we were using the Laowa 24mm probe lens. So I lined up cups of sauces that we could pull the probe lens through. The idea was pull the lens through, dip a nugget each time it passes a sauce. In the original version of this shot, we didn't have the bottles lined up in the background, and it looked really boring. These are the client's signature sauces, and they're kind of a big deal at the restaurant. And the design, like the graphic design on the bottles, is super dope. So thankfully, my boy Jacob came in and was like, hey, what if we line up the bottles in the back? And I think it looks so good. Not only does it fill out the background, but it gets more brand elements in the frame, and since we're on the probe lens, it just looks epic. Anyway, the last very crucial piece for this shot was this Edelkrone automatic slider. There's no way I was getting this shot without some form of slider, whether that be an electronic one, a mechanical one, or a rag underneath my camera, something. Because trying to go handheld or anything crazy with the probe lens, I mean, it gets wild. So after getting the setup to execute the shot, I ran the slider back and forth a few times just to get a feel for it, the speed and everything, and then we got to dipping sauces. I would hold the button down on the slider, give them an action for chicken nugget 1, chicken nugget 2, chicken nugget 3. You can tell Tyler on chicken nugget 1 was starving by this point because he hit his dip and then right into his mouth, and then just kept going. It was freaking, like, I saw it out of the corner of my eye and I almost ruined it, because I'm pretty sure this is the shot we ended up using. This was easily one of the longest setups we did throughout this project, but I think we actually only ended up doing like 3 or 4 takes. I'm not gonna go super deep into post-production on this video specifically, but there was one thing that saved me in post, in After Effects. Shout out Content Aware Phil. So this original shot is very dusty. It was bad. We definitely should have had an air duster to blow off this surface before every single take. Because once I removed the Content Aware Phil magic, like, look at that. I was about to deliver to client, and then I saw that, and I was like, there's no way. This is a food commercial. There can't be like dirt and dust all over the ground next to these chicken nuggets, but I'm very glad I dove into this and figured out how to clean up a video like this. Overall, it's actually a pretty easy process. So number 1, bring in your video to After Effects. Number 2, draw a mask around any of these dust or dirt particles. Number 3, track those masks and then set them all to subtract. And then number 4, is where the magic happens. You go into the content aware fill tab, hit generate fill, and it's generated the fill, like it's filled the holes. You might have to play around with the settings a little bit, whether it's surface or object removal, but for me on this specific project, it worked so well. So finally, check this shot out from raw to final. Okay, dope. That was a long one, but it was also one of the more intense setups we have going on here. These next few shots will go by super quick. They're a lot simpler. So we're in the restaurant, here's the kitchen. We tried to cut as much as the mixed color temperature and house lights that they have, but a lot of them are automatic, have to stay on. And then to bring some light back into the situation, we set up the aperture 120D with the light dome just so we could have nice quality light and control the direction and the power it was at. I don't think we moved it for most of these shots. Okay, let's bust through these shots. So I'm going for a progress of making chicken nuggets thing. Our amazing cook had to toss them in the seasoning and flour mix. The only thing really of note here is that I shot from a low angle to try to get all the mix falling out in slow motion. After a few takes, I also had her raise the mixing basket way higher than she normally would. It made a huge mess, but it needed to look dramatic. Shot number 3, our cook is bringing the nuggets out of the fryer. For this shot, I believe I was on the Sigma 35mm 1.4. I backed up a bit, gave her an action, and then did a rotation as I walked closer. Slowed it down to 20%, put some stabilization on it, and this is what we got. For shot number 4, we had the 120 again, where we set it up originally, but we also had the nuggets sitting under a heating lamp since they just came out of the fryer, and it gave a really nice warm look to the nuggets. This is another handheld shot. I just pushed forward with a little bit of rotation, slowed it down in post, added stabilization, and actually accentuated the rotation movement with keyframes in post. Okay, shot number 5, we did a good amount of takes. So this is that Daniel Schiffer style, tracking the motion. So I had our cook take a pair of tongs, grab a nugget, and drop it into one of the boxes. I actually have one of the boxes right here. Oh, that's kind of cool. Wait, I messed it up. To drop it into one of these boxes right here. The A7S III came in handy here because I would just tap on the screen where the nugget and the tongs were and then make my movement. It was definitely jumping around a little bit because there was a lot of motion. I would lose the nugget, but we just kept trying, kept going. And then in post, I did this tracked look. I tried to track it in Premiere and then in After Effects, but it was looking weird and shaky, so I actually just ended up keyframing it, which took way longer than I would have preferred it to take, but here's the final shot we got. For shot number 6, again, we have the 120D and then the heating lamp from atop the mountain. That's staying in there. There's nothing crazy going on here, but I was shooting on the Canon 100mm macro, and I literally just set it up on the tripod and let it roll on the nuggets. I would get different frames, I would do focus pulling like I'm doing here, and the idea here in the shot list was 2 specific things. One, I knew these were gonna be for social, so I knew they were gonna be 4x5, 9x16, and 1920x1080. A lot of different aspect ratios going on here. So I wanted to try to capture some kind of texture to fill gaps and fill holes if I had to crop something super weird. So you can see here on a 4x5 one, I literally just use these big macro shots of nuggets to fill what otherwise would just be black bars. On top of that, it was also used to fill holes in my edit. If I couldn't find another shot, I would try out these nugget textures. Yeah. Download my free nugget textures. It's not a thing. All right, last shot, technically, last unique shot. So for this shot, I was handheld again. I got my frame, my composition, and I was actually shooting 240 frames per second to get that super duper slow motion. For this one, we were back in the studio. Again, our white backdrop, you can see our 120D with the umbrella gel on it down there. For the surface, we have a nice wood cutting board, and then I just have these materials by my desk. I'm not sure why I kept them, but the restaurant has these super dope tray liners. Just like the sauce bottle, it put more branding in the shot and filled it out a little bit so it wasn't too boring. So I got my composition and then told Jacob to just toss those chicken nuggets on into the frame, and here's the shot that we got. Last thing, did a little flash to the logo and kept those chicken textures in the background with a little Gaussian blur on them, because we're not cutting to white, we're not cutting to black. We're keeping some texture in there. We're keeping something. I'm also no motion designer, so keep it simple with the logos, okay? Wow, that was a lot. But if you made it this far, shout out to you for checking this out. Like I mentioned earlier, this is one of 4 ads that we did, so hopefully I'll have another breakdown of one of those coming soon. I'll throw one of them at the end of this video to let you check it out. Y'all, I very much appreciate you watching this. This was a super fun video for me to make, like this one and the video that we broke down. Y'all, thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe, and I'all see you next week. Y'all are the freaking best.